they had a certain something.
She had the street smarts, she had the heart, she had the style.
She had the attitude like I already made it. I'm already hot. You just gotta figure it out.
They chased one goal relentlessly.
I saw this animal, I saw this savage, I was like, oh my God.
She had a determination. I'm tough, I can handle it.
Through struggles.
Biggie pulled a gun out on her. Crazy.
There was a lot of drama. The mental, the physical abuse. She started wearing those big glasses, you know, because she'll have a black eye or something.
And setbacks. Losing the one you love.
She felt like her whole world came apart.
All she could do is just cry, cry.
I said, Kim, whatever you gotta do, be strong.
Some people are just driven. A Brooklyn girl's defiant pursuit of superstardom.
She was talking sex, like over-the-top sex, Madonna-type sex.
Everybody was just like...
She had the whole ghettos of America screaming.
Never before seen images, stories, and revelations from the people who know what really happened.
I'm like, what are you, pregnant? She's like, yeah. Oh, my God.
She didn't have to tell anybody. Everybody knew.
It was Biggie.
Notorious! Because they lived it with her.
The notorious K.I. to the S.
She wasn't intimidated by anyone. She gonna bring it to you. And she gonna bring it to you live.
This is Driven. Lil' Kim.
Kim was born on July 11, 1976, in Brooklyn, New York. She came into the world running. She was born so quickly, I almost didn't make it to the hospital in time. She was pushing to get out.
From the day she was born, she had that personality, strong personality.
But she was an excellent baby. She never fussed or complained. Just really a happy baby.
Kim always smiled.
I guess she kind of got that smile from me, you know. I have a beautiful smile. Kim's father, he was a bus driver for the New York City Transit Authority. He was very strict.
In the house, everything was very military type. You had to be right on point with everything.
That's how he was brought up. He was in the Marine Corps.
This is my rules. You do this, this, this.
You're not supposed to wear your shoes that way.
Be in the house. You can't do this. You can't be on the phone late. Got to go to bed.
It's 4 o'clock. You here 4:10.
He liked for everything to be in order. I'll put it that way.
Me and Kim grew up on Lafayette Avenue in Brooklyn.
Her and Chris was really close, and they always was like inseparable.
We lived in the development called Rising Towers.
The intention was for us to live in a nice apartment, you know, live in a nice secluded area, but it was just the opposite.
Where we were, directly in our buildings hanging out, it wasn't bad. But yeah, you can cross the street, you can go down the street. Yeah, it was rough.
It's like going from Disney World to a battlefield.
For the figure, how you figure?
It was a ghetto area, point blank. Murders and, you know, robberies, everything.
Kim spent a lot of time at her aunt's house.
My aunt had 3 boys.
When boys played, Kim didn't want to feel left out.
If y'all want to play football, I can grab that football and do what y'all can do.
You can't challenge her because she would take on the challenge.
Kim was always like a tough girl, but not tomboyish. Very feminine.
Kim was around people who liked to dress. My family liked to dress. We all do. And her moms was sharp.
I've always been into fashion.
Kim just would watch my mom. She would watch her get dressed. It was like, yeah, like that jacket, like them pants.
She always got dressed in my clothes. She would hit my closet. She would go to the dresser, get my lipstick. As a matter of fact, a couple times she got beat for putting lipstick all over my beautiful bedspread.
I could peek in her room. She just be in her mirror. She had a nice big square mirror so she could just see herself.
She would get in the mirror, you know, like some kids do, and she would sing because she was the star, you know.
My pops would always be like, yo, one day, man, we all gonna be movie stars.
I think she must have watched the movie with Diana Ross Mahogany at least 1,000 times.
Kim looked up to Diana Ross, you know, as a singer, entertainer.
Do you know where you're going to? Do you like the things that life is showing you?
Diana Ross was a glamour type, you know. She was like a diva, and Kim, at a young age, really knew what being a diva was.
Diana Ross inspired her to really push herself to be somebody when she grew up.
What are you hoping for? Do you know?
Our families are very close, so a lot of times we had to babysit, especially when they was really young.
Amos would be in the living room, and he would play his bass.
I was a musician back then, and I always had auditions, or I put bands together to do shows. Kim and Chris always saw a lot of musicians coming around.
Being in that atmosphere 7, 8 hours, we started to soak that up.
I had a rapper that I was developing at the time, and I had told Chris and Kim, look, I'm doing a music video for one of my rappers, come down. So we shot the club scene where he was on the stage and he was performing and everybody was going crazy. And that's when Kim's eyes, she was like, this is great. You know, this is something I want to do. She really absorbed a lot of stuff at a young age.
Things between Kim's father and I started to deteriorate, I guess I could say.
A lot of fighting, a lot of, you know, arguing and screaming.
Rather than have my kids in that type of environment, which it wasn't good for them or myself. I just felt that it was time for me to move on, and that's what I did.
It was basically my mother giving us a choice, like, you want to stay here with your father, or you want to go with me?
I was going to take both of my children, but my son, he was like hysterical because he did not want to go.
Kim was, you know, she was attached to my mother, and I was like more, at the time, attached to my father.
She was always so protective of me. She was like, let's go, Mama. I'm ready. I took Kim and we moved to my girlfriend's house in New Rochelle.
Kim was about 9 years old when she moved to New Rochelle. You know how my mother was struggling, you know, going back and forth in the streets.
It was a financial struggle. I wasn't able to stay at my girlfriend's for, you know, an extended period of time. So I really had no place to go, so I just kind of stayed with other friends.
They rely on people. You got to ask people to do you a favor.
My mother would be the channel to kind of find out how Kim is doing, make sure she had food.
Kim and I, you know, eventually started living out the trunk of my car, you know. It's not something that I'm very proud of, you know, but I did what I felt I had to do.
Kim, she'd be like, yo, you know, we had to sleep in the car? And I'm like, what? You had to sleep in the car? And it's like, you hate to hear that, because it's like, what, I mean, Dad, what do I do?
Kim was really unhappy because she wanted to have a family like everybody else.
She also missed her friends and the neighborhood.
Basically, I'm like, asking Kim, you know, do you want to come back? I know Mommy not coming back.
Once my divorce was final, the decision was made by the courts. They felt it was better for the two children to be together with their father in more of a family environment, because I didn't have anything at that time. I didn't have an apartment. I didn't have anything.
You know, eventually, Kim just came on back to Brooklyn.
That was the worst day of my life. It was the worst day. Even now.
Next, a family dispute erupts in violence.
It got serious because it was a physical fight that broke out.
Kim was about to stab her father.
And Kim winds up out on the streets.
One day, he was like, I'm locking the door. Kim didn't come back. That's when she started hustling.
You date the drug dealers, and you had to sleep with them, you had to transport for them if you wanted money.
Later, Kim makes a musical connection.
The Junior Mafia definitely became a second family for Kim. Biggie made them a family.
That's what she was looking for, that love and support from the guys.
When Kim returned home with her dad and her brother, things were going pretty good.
For me, it was like I could breathe because I know she's all right.
Kim was attending Sarah J. Hale High School.
When we were in high school, especially our freshman years, we were trying to be fashion plates.
Check it out now. Her father would give her money every week, and we would go shopping. Coats, the boots, the jewelry, different color wigs. She had real good girl.
She would not want to go anywhere not looking nice.
Every day for her was like a fashion show.
We didn't even know what Gucci was, and Kim had it.
This made other young ladies jealous of her.
You know how girls can be sometimes. They don't like you just because of the way that you look.
So she was like hated on.
There was this girl always bothering Kim. Kim knew if I don't take care of this situation, this girl's gonna constantly bother me.
So she takes her wig off and just pile a lot of Vaseline on her face the next day.
You take the Vaseline, coat it on your face so that we don't get scratches on our face.
Took off her earrings, had her hair braided back, and she fought this girl and beat her. You know? Kim right there took no mess.
She wasn't intimidated by anyone. She felt like you disrespected her, and she gonna bring it to you. You know, she gonna bring it to you live.
Kim made it known that she liked to rap.
Rap music was such a big influence at that time. She would act like she's a rapper.
She would write down certain, lyrics to rap songs that she made up.
Oh, yeah, I heard of the females rap. They ain't got nothing on me.
I was DJing and Kim would come to parties. I was doing basement parties, project parties. We would all get down.
She see that mic there, she just want to get on and grab it.
What's the mic?
I can dig it. Kim wanted to stay on there, sing, rap, whatever she could do on there. She took advantage of it. She didn't care if it didn't sound right. She just liked the attention.
What's your name? Huh?
She developed a strong, confident attitude about herself.
Who you here with?
My girlfriend. I'll be right back.
Hurry up, man.
Hey, guys are looking at me. They're acknowledging me.
Guys from Red Hook, guys from Queens, guys from Bronx. Guys loved Kim.
I met Kim at a skating rink in Brooklyn. I'll never forget the dress she had on. She had like a plaid dress with some Gucci boots. She was looking real nice. I was like, yo, what's up, shorty? Well, I'm gonna give you my number so you could call me. So she was like, all right. And we started calling each other on the phone.
It just was an instant click, right away.
They were always together. She would stop by, visit. They made a good couple. And she expressed how much she cared about him.
And then like a couple of months after that, I got myself arrested.
He did get locked up.
I was like, yeah, I'm locked up. She was like, locked up? She was kind of shocked. I wound up doing 8.5 years.
She visited with him pretty frequently and always wrote him letters, kept in touch with him.
She came up, we sat down, we got to hold hands, kiss, talk. I was telling my mother I was excited, I was like, yo, I'm really liking this girl, Kim. I'm thinking about proposing to her. But I have one problem. I need a ring.
My mother seen that Sean was serious about Kim, so we went up there.
My mother gave me the ring, and I'm looking at her hand, trying to, build my energy up.
And she was shaking, and he asked her, would she marry him?
He was like, you serious? I was like, yeah, I'm serious.
And she was crying, and she made me cry.
Next thing you know, we was engaged.
Kim and her father, they didn't have the best relationship as we got older.
She was growing up. She was a teenager.
That's a very difficult period for kids. Their father maybe wasn't able to kind of deal with that period.
He became overprotective.
I think the military kind of took away his parenting skills. My father was a good man, but just wasn't a good parent.
Kim's friends were able to go out, go to a movie and do things and, go out and socialize, and then Kim can't go. Why? She got to stay upstairs and do homework or clean.
She felt his rules were just ridiculous, not being able to go to parties or just hang out like teenagers do. It was just unbearable to her.
I would call Kim's house, and I could hear them arguing, and she'd be like, Sean, call me back.
You could get off the elevator and hear them.
The police start knowing us by our first name because they just would come so much.
One occasion, it got serious. It was a physical fight that broke out.
We arguing about something small, maybe about a chore around the house that somebody didn't do. And then the argument escalates, and then I'm in his face, yeah, so what you gonna do? Yeah, so what you gonna do?
Her father, once again, shut up.
Eventually, somebody's gonna swing first, and then next thing you know, you just see this little body flying from off the couch, jumping on my father's back, and the next thing you know, we fighting.
Kim, like, tore the place up, because she was, like, protecting her brother, too, you know.
She just started going crazy, picking up forks, knives, going to her eyes, screaming, hollering.
Kim was about to stab her father.
Kim looked at me and was like, man, I'm not going through this. You can look in her eyes and tell she don't want to hurt him, but she's upset, she's frustrated.
Her father and her, they would have these arguments, a fight or whatever, and she would just say, well, okay, I'm leaving, and she would just leave.
One day, he was like, I'm locking the door. Kim didn't come back. Kim was gone for a week.
Things got worse when Mr. Jones married a woman named Jackie. Kim and her father just didn't get along, more so when Jackie came into the picture.
When her father remarried, they decided to buy a house in Jersey.
But they told Kim she couldn't come.
Kim felt insulted because she was like, where am I gonna go? Where am I gonna live? So at that point, she had to find her own way.
The less attention her father gave her, she went to the streets to look for it.
She dropped out of Sarah J. High School.
She had started going to different houses, you know, staying with friends for a while, and then when that wore out, she would have to leave and go to another house.
That's when she began to struggle hard.
She really started, you know, doing real bad, you know. That's when she started hustling.
I copped the 1 to 3 just to see if all the yayo and boy carrying on the Peter Pan and Maryland.
She ran with a crowd that was snatching earrings and taking chains and, you know.
It was drug dealers that was happy just to be in the presence of a pretty woman.
But she was running with that crowd. I would give her, yo, Kim, be careful.
She would have to take drugs from out of town with guys, sell things for guys.
You date the drug dealers, and you had to sleep with them, you had to transport for them if you wanted money.
Somebody wanted Kim to do something for her in another state, Kim would be there. I mean, if there's some money involved where she can support herself and not go to my father and get it, she'll do it.
I don't think she wanted to be out there like that, like ripping and running and having to do things for money that she probably wouldn't have done if she'd have had that stable home, but you know, I guess she had to do what she had to do to survive.
Next, a neighborhood rapper makes a big promise.
He had told Kim, you stay close to me and you work with me, I'm gonna put you on.
He says to me, that's my next bitch. The world's gonna love her.
Then, passions boil over.
It was crazy. It was crazy. Biggie pulled a gun out on her.
She started wearing those big glasses, you know, and she'll have a black eye or something. There was a lot of drama.
Kim wanted to have a solid foundation. You know, at that point, Kim was basically in the street making sure she survived. She knew she had to find a place and make it her home.
She just wanted that family connection.
And that was when Kim came to live with me.
Her mother was like really teaching her to be independent again.
When she finally got settled, Kim expressed to me how she felt about Sean. Kim was out here and Sean was incarcerated. Kim couldn't really, you know, like dedicate herself to his situation because she had her own to deal with.
I ain't see Kim for like a couple of months. I had got frustrated and I wrote a letter that was like out of this world. It was like me being so mad and upset and not understanding. I'm like, yo, I just proposed to her and she wrote me back and she was like cursing me out for not being understanding.
She had like aspirations and things she wanted to do.
It did hurt him. I believe he wanted more from Kim, you know, more from their relationship. It didn't work out that way.
I was an employee at Bad Boy Entertainment in 1993, and Biggie was one of our first artists.
Big was doing his thing with Puff.
He had his own production. He was trying to get his own money going on.
Big used to hang out on Fulton and St. James, right on the corner.
He was just rapping around the neighborhood.
Someone that knew Big said that they know his female that really could spit fire.
He went up to Little Kim and said, so I heard you can rap, so let me see you perform.
At first she hesitated, whatever. Then when she finally did it,
Give me what I need, baby.
he was like, oh, like Shorty could really spit.
She had the personality, she had the street smart, she had the heart, she had the style.
He had told Kim, like, if you stay close to me and you work with me, I'm gonna put you on.
She used to come to the house, and I asked my son, what is that little girl doing here? Who is she? She's my artist. And I said, artist? You know, who are you to have an artist? And he said, this little girl, she's talented. You know, she have what it takes. She wants to succeed, and I'm gonna make sure she get it.
She started looking at him as a, you know, a mentor.
You go to the studio session with Big.
Big would just coach her. You know, she'd do a line or two. He'd stop her.
Bring it back, bring it back, bring it back, bring it back. Let me hear that one more time.
Let her listen to it, and then figure out where she could punch back in for the next line.
Told her how to act, how to stand, and, you know, how to rap.
She wouldn't be ashamed to tell me, like, yo, Big is more than me.
She found guidance, you know? She found someone who believed in her and what she was capable of doing. You know, somebody with the same hunger.
When Kim approached me and said that she wanted to go into the music industry, I was not too keen about it. I always said to her that I think the primary thing in life is to have an education.
She started attending Brooklyn College for some courses there.
It's an open campus setting, so it's hard sometimes to keep track of students. Kim took advantage of it.
A lot of times she wasn't showing up to class.
She's also not passing exams.
Woody, he said, you know, you're a bright girl, and if you just apply yourself, you know, you can even do much better than what you're doing.
She would respond, I think that you should get out of my face and mind your business.
She was going to school only to try to satisfy me.
She said, well, I'm going to be a rapper. And she had told me that there was a whole group of people in Clinton Hill who were trying to make rap records, and that one day they would be really huge. My reaction, being old school, I said, come on, stop it. That stuff is not going to last. She said, no, I'm serious. I'm going to come out with a record. It's going to be really big.
She was like all excited, you know, and I could see that this was really where she wanted to go.
Her mom was definitely pushing her, like, you know, make sure you finish school. And she went along and did that. Because that was, like, the best gift for her mom.
I was in Brooklyn with Big, and Big saw Kim outside.
Call Big Mama over here.
So she walked over to the car and said, you know, hey, Big, you know, with that little voice.
Hi! Why are you playing so much?
Come on, like you got the window halfway down.
Excuse me, Big Mama.
And you could just tell that she loved him, just the way her eyes glowed. And he says to me, that's my next bitch. I said, what do you mean? That's my rapper. The world's gonna love her. Tell me they ain't gonna love her.
Her feelings started to change a bit, you know, the love grew.
Biggie loved her. Biggie didn't do nothing without Kim. And whenever I saw Biggie, I saw Kim.
Biggie was everything to her. He was her lover. He was her best friend.
She always wanted to make Biggie happy, make it hot for her man.
The tension between them came when he got married.
First things first, I pop freaks all the...
Faith Evans and Biggie was getting a deal around the same time, and I believe that that's how they met.
It was a love at first sight type of thing.
They just met, and 2 weeks, 3 weeks later, they were married. Kim was not happy.
Her feelings were, how could he do this, being that you know we had this relationship?
Even though Big and Faith was married, I believe that Big loved Kim because he still had a relationship with her.
Biggie wanted Kim to be like a lover and a friend. You can be my lover late at night, but to the public eye, we friends.
That's when, you know, the argument started.
What?
What's up with you?
What you mean what's up with me?
With this money?
He be mad, she be mad, yelling, screaming, hollering.
You know what I'm I'm telling you I'm doing something.
They may exchanged a few blows amongst each other.
If they got into anything, better believe she threw the first hit.
Cut me up, scratch me up.
Her little self was not scared of Big.
At the hotel, he'd knock her out and drag her through the lobby of the hotel. You know, she started wearing those big glasses. And she'll have like a knot on the eye or have a black eye or something.
It was crazy. It was crazy. Biggie pulled a gun out on her.
The mental, the physical abuse, the emotional abuse, she went through a lot with the Notorious One.
It'd be an argument with them one day, and then it'd be, hey, I love Kim.
Kim tried to make the best of it. She would not give up on this guy.
When you're in love, it's hard to let it go.
She said, okay, I still want to be somebody, and if I got to bite the bullet and still stick by his side, and that's what I got to do. And that's what she did. So they laid the tracks down, they got the work done.
whatever it took for her to get to where she was at, she was gonna do.
Damn right, I like the life I live.
After Ready to Die, that's when Biggie got on.
Ready to Die came out, sold 36,000 copies the first week.
Big used to always be like, y'all better get your stuff together and get it popping, because, you know, the Junior Mafia thing's about to blow.
He always wanted to put his people on once he got on.
He was conceiving this Junior Mafia concept with all his friends that he grew up with in Brooklyn, and Lil' Kim was one of them.
These were just young kids or his friends that he saw and wanted to help.
I talked to Mark Pitts, who was managing Biggie at the time, and he described to me Biggie's, vision that would launch this group called the Junior Mafia. And I said, it's a no-brainer, let's do it. In a matter of weeks, we did the deal and started recording the record.
They were all ecstatic, and I know Christopher was proud.
Kim came and she said to me, oh, Mom, we got our record deal, And then that's when I started to say, wow, maybe she's gonna make it after all.
Next, Lil' Kim is forced to make a painful choice.
I'm like, what, are you sick? She's like, no, not exactly. I'm like, what, are you pregnant?
She told Biggie, and his first reaction was, not right now. It's not good for the business.
Then, the young rapper comes out hardcore.
Big was like, well, we gotta sell sex, because she's sexy.
I called my son and I said, Christopher, my God, can't you put some clothes on your artist?
Later, a shocking crime rips Lil' Kim's world apart.
I hear this screams, and I come outside and I see Kim and she's on the floor.
All I could tell her is, Kim, you're gonna be all right. You strong, mama.
Biggie's like my big papa. These are my boys. I hold the click down, and it's definitely gonna be something for the future.
The whole Junior Mafia were living in this house in Brooklyn, right off Atlantic Avenue.
The Junior Mafia definitely became a second family for Kim. Biggie made them a family, and he was like the father.
That's what she was looking for, that father role, that love and support from the guys.
She said, man, I've always wanted a family like this. I've always wanted to be here.
Biggie used to tell all the members of Junior Mafia, whoever writes the best rhymes is getting on these records.
The first song that they did was Players Anthem. Players, grab your if you love hip-hop.
And she wrote this 16 bars, and she was like, I can do this record.
When I got into the studio with her, I saw a whole new person. I saw this animal. I saw this savage. I was like, oh, my God, now I see what Big was talking about.
She got into this booth and rapped.
I used to pack Macs and Cadillacs.
And everybody was like, oh, snap.
And I remember hearing this record, and I said, we have to get this out immediately. We ended up pressing 500 white labels just to the streets, just to kind of seed the concept of Junior Mafia.
And the next thing you know, the record's like, kaboom.
Junior Mafia and Kim went on the road to promote the album.
When it came to performances, she used to be nervous.
She would rap, and her voice would be so light. Like real light through the mic.
Biggie was there to push her on. I want you to be the female version of me. Why are you sitting here being weak?
After that, it was like the eye of the tiger.
Apollo, show your love for Notorious Big.
That first show that I saw at the Apollo, I'll never forget. Players Anthem hit, crowd, pretty loud. In the middle of the second verse, Lil' Kim starts to slowly move towards the stage. She delivers her verse, and the crowd just erupts. This tiny little girl, rapping alongside Biggie, who's huge, and she's holding her own, toe-to-toe with Biggie.
To be so small, to talk so much, to just be amongst all these big guys, she just stood out.
She had the attitude like, I already made it. I'm already hot. You just got to figure it out.
Biggie talked about Lil' Kim being the next bitch to take over the rap game.
There was no female out there that was going to be saying and doing the things that she was going to do. So his vision was to make her the queen of the streets.
Everyone wanted the Lil' Kim album to come.
It was like, let's go. Let's just put Kim out.
Biggie and Kim sat down and creatively kind of mapped out a record. They were going to push the limits. And throughout the writing of that record, you know, she really was raw and honest.
Hasta la vista. Bye-bye. Kiss your kids. It's the
People always thought Biggie wrote everything for Kim. That's not true. Kim would write and also collaborate.
He would let her know, Kim, you know, this is about you.
You know you can do it. You don't have to wait for me. I don't have to write your rhymes.
And now it's time for you to be little Kim, do your own thing.
Kim started focusing. She became who she really was, the person who always was driven to do this.
We're in the middle of recording Hardcore, and Kim had been gone for like a day and got on the phone. I'm like, what, are you sick? She's like, no, not exactly. I'm like, what, are you pregnant? She's like, yeah. And I'm like, oh my God.
She didn't have to tell anybody. Everybody knew. You could look at her and tell she didn't want to do anything. She was laying in the house.
We already knew, you know, who it was. She told me who it was. It was Biggie.
She told Biggie, and his first reaction was, you know, not right now. It's not good for the business.
It wasn't like he was encouraging her to keep it.
I told her, if it's love and you just want to do your whole love relationship thing, then go ahead. But if you do this career thing, make this album, go on the road, promote, you need to make a decision either way.
I didn't like the whole situation, and I just left it up to her, you know, to just make the final decision.
And, you know, next time I got a call from her, she's like, okay, I'm gonna have an abortion. I gave her some money. And, you know, next time I know, it was done.
And I think to this day, she wished she would have had it, but she couldn't do it. It wasn't her time.
I can tell that a part of Kim died that day.
It ain't a day of my life that goes by that I don't get high, sit back and won't cry.
She had to go back to work, and that's what she did. She just picked up. I guess that's what helped her to get, you know, to get past it, her work.
Like a day later, she was in the studio recording. Think how crazy that is.
Kim finished that record. She was ready to go.
And when she put her mind on something, it's definitely gonna get done.
Watch out now.
Before the album even came out, they had poster boards, stickers everywhere of Kim squatting down with her legs wide open. Everybody was just like...
The sexual part of it was Big's idea. Big was like, well, you know, we gotta sell sex, because she's sexy.
When it clicked in her head, be feminine, be sexy, she's like, okay, all right.
I called my son and I said, Christopher, my God, can't you put some clothes on your artist?
It was a statement. I'm coming out, hardcore.
You gotta go with Lord.
Hardcore was the album that I think set Lil' Kim apart from everybody.
She was talking sex, over-the-top sex, Madonna-type sex.
Horrible sex. She'd be like, don't be ashamed about what you do. If you do it, just be the best at it.
Some people felt it was distasteful.
Of course, she got banned from certain places because they like, what is this? Oh, no woman could be talking like this. We ain't having this.
Little Kim's lyrics were about the empowerment of women. She wanted to go toe-to-toe with the male rappers in the same way they were brutally honest and hardcore.
And I'm the same chick that you wanna get with, and everywhere it's hot.
She was speaking every language that the average woman wanted to say, but they just couldn't.
You the best at that.
The records took off, you know, Big Mama Thing, No Time, Crush on You.
Little Kim the queen bee, so you best take heed.
Biggest album for a female that, you know, we experienced besides Mary J.
She had the whole ghettos of America screaming. Every girl wanted to be Lil' Kim at that point.
All that struggling, all that hard work, all the emotions she was going through, finally she was where she wanted to be.
You would never know what was going on behind the scenes with Kim.
There was a lot of drama. Let me tell you.
You know, it was nights where we were on the phone till 8, 9 o'clock in the morning, talking about some of the things that Biggie was doing to her and how hurt she was.
He would always have a lot of women.
My son has so many girls, so many women.
She just didn't know what it was about the other girls that he didn't see in her.
It was a slap in the face. Like, now you're doing this again.
A few times we had breakfast at a Waffle House, and Kim would kind of like shed her tears, shed her pain.
Mama always told me to be careful who I love.
Every emotion that love comes with, she displayed it. Like, I'm tired of him. I'm tired of this mess. I know he's not good for me.
There was times that she felt like death was her only way out.
I was like, you gotta give him up. It's not working out. it's not gonna work out. It's not happening.
But through it all, Kim stayed by his side.
Because she loved him.
No matter what they went through, she always felt like she was obligated to him because Biggie put Kim where she was at.
I was with Kim. Big called her from LA. He said, I'm sorry for everything that I've done to you. I'm sorry for all the drama and, you know, the trouble I caused you. You know, believe that I love you. She was like, when he get back, you know, it's going to be about me and him. She thought they would ultimately be together.
Hi, I'm John Norris with an MTV News breaking story.
I was sleeping on the couch and the manager came banging on the door.
I think it must have been about 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning.
4-year-old rap artist known as Notorious B.I.G. was shot early Sunday.
She just kept saying, yo, Big got shot. They say he's dead.
I hear this screams, you know, and I come outside and I see Kim and she's on the floor.
Kim did not believe it. She thought it was a lie.
Once again, the rapper Notorious B.I.G. dead of gunshot wounds.
There was no way anybody could have told her that Big was dead.
To have that person who gave you all your start in life and to lose that person, it was devastating.
She was destroyed. Her head wasn't even, you know, her head wasn't right.
It was just like no communicating with her, that she was like not even here.
I just prayed for her, so I could do it. Just pray for her.
All I could tell her is, Kim, you're gonna be all right. You strong, mama. You're gonna be all right. You know, all she could do is just cry.
Losing the one you love, your mentor, your teacher, your friend, the love of your life, she felt like her whole world came apart.
When Big passed, it was like she knew that she was gonna have to grow up overnight.
For a long time, she didn't want to do anything. She didn't want to rap anymore.
We were worried for her. We were nervous. We were thinking the worst.
I would say to her, I don't think this is what Biggie would want you to do. I don't think he would want you just to stay in your room, you know, cry all day, you know, and just be depressed.
We tried everything to get her to go out. She was like in this slump.
We had a show at the Paramount. That was her first show after he got killed. The worst show I've ever seen her do.
She was just so used to him being there.
There's no more Big running around saying, this is my chick. Love her. She has to do it on her own now, and it's hard.
She broke down really bad after the show. She tore the dressing room up.
People used to tell me, well, Biggie's passed now, so I guess, you know, Kim's not going to make it.
A lot of people were saying, yeah, well, you know, Biggie was the instrument behind all the talent anyway.
She had to make a decision. Am I going to be a hip-hop memory, or am I going to continue in Biggie's legacy?
Ladies' Night was like one of the first things that she did after Biggie died. That was done in Miami. We all went out there to support her.
Lil' Kim, the Brat, Missy, and Angie Martinez was on there, so that was hot.
It was finally like letting it go. She was really coming back to herself.
And I got all my sisters with me.
She knew that she had to get herself together and she had to keep Big Dream alive.
She was kind of forced to stay strong, continue to entertain, and just be Little Kim.
Brooklyn.
The ball was in her court and she had to do whatever she had to do to stay on top.
Okay, what would Biggie do? Biggie loved me being sexual and doing my own thing, so I'm gonna do what I think is right, and that's what she did.
She changed her whole MO, her style, everything. It went from her being a hardcore chick into her being real, like, slick, kind of like a James Bond, but still raunchy.
The 1999 MTV Awards outfit that Little Kim wore, that idea actually came from myself and Missy Elliott. Missy said, you know what would be hot if she had one breast out?
I just thought that I'd do something that just say, look at her.
When Kim stepped out in front of that podium, that was the shot heard around the world. That was the moment that Kim really solidified herself as a global fashion icon.
The original diva of R&B was Diana Ross.
And then
when Diana came out and she touched her boob, it just took it to a whole nother level.
I was like, oh my God. Don't knock the pasty off, Diana, please.
Do you know where you're going? She was like, Mommy, 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 guess what? I finally got to meet Diana Ross. She even touched my breast. I was like, I know. I saw it on TV, you know.
Put your hands up. Come on, y'all. Put your hands up.
Kim was really pushing the boundaries, and she was getting more and more famous.
Miss Kim.
She started becoming like the Black Madonna of rap music.
She was on more magazine covers probably than almost any, certainly any female rapper ever.
Before anything, Kim's bigger than her records. There are people that sell 5 million records that are not as recognizable as Lil' Kim.
Oh, you girls look beautiful.
She was very proactive in the recording of the second album. There was intense pressure. How do we follow up and match the hype?
Just work, 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 work. She was a workhorse at that time.
For her to get through that album was real magnificent because it was hard.
Biggie was her inspiration, and she got a huge picture of Big that would take up the whole wall in somebody's room. And she just look at it and she'd be thinking, you know, and she'd be writing.
The recording of that album, I think, was a very cathartic process for Lil' Kim. She had a torrent of emotion running through her.
Hold On is her tribute to Big. She talks about a lot of personal things with him.
She speaks about the people who killed him.
Killers caused a lot of devastation.
She speaks about what he meant to her and what she meant to him.
Don't you worry, B.I., I'ma ride to my last breath.
Notorious K.I.M., the name alone, meant a lot to Kim. And the fact that I'm still doing my thing after the passing of Big.
She was telling her life through her music. It's the story of Kimberly Jones.
Notorious. No, no, notorious.
The notorious K.I. to the S. That's
Kim came in and upped the game in the rap industry.
I think a lot of people didn't think Lil' Kim could, make it successfully without Biggie.
the king and the queen of hip-hop.
She proved to the world she could do it on her own.
I know he'd be very proud of her today. Very proud.
I want y'all to do this for my man B.I.G. Y'all know I love you so much.
You see her on screen, think it's all beautiful for her. But she struggled hard to get there.
Sometimes the best things come out of struggles. Sometimes out of pain, comes gladness.
The race goes to those who can endure. And she's one of the people I can endure.
She was like, I'm going to be here for a while. Whether you want me to or not, I'm here. And I'm here to stay.